as a little boy coming up, I was scared to go to a funeral.
Right.
You couldn't pay me to go to a funeral. Now, if you was an auntie or uncle, I went.
Right.
And that's because Mama kind of pushed me to go.
Most definitely.
I've been in the industry over 30 plus years.
Okay. All right.
The community can see the great works that we're doing here in this industry.
Hi, welcome to the Ep4 Morty Show, where I'm your host, Treyvon Veal, a licensed funeral director here in Louisiana. Today, I have a special treat for you guys. I have a guest that is going to blow your mind, one of my awesome friends. And here on the show, you know, we talk about life, death, and everything in between. Now, today is going to be more of the in-between. So, my personal friend, special guest, is Mr. Bryant Wright from Wright Funeral Home in Hammond, Louisiana. Welcome to the show, Mr. Bryant. How you doing?
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. Are you excited to be on the show?
Yes, I am. I am excited and glad for you.
Right.
And I'm glad for the audience that are out there listening and watching.
Right. Thank you so much. So y'all know it's all about funeral stuff, and me and Bryant are like, we love this funeral stuff, so it's going to be everything like that. So I have a few questions for you, Mr. Wright, because this basically is on my quest of everybody getting to know their funeral directors and their funeral home, where you spend your money at. So in my quest of letting everybody be introduced to their funeral directors, their funeral homes, and their local community, that's why I'm bringing Mr. Wright on the show. So my first question for you, Brian, is tell me, did you choose the funeral industry, or did the funeral industry choose you?
Well, I would say that I probably choose the industry.
Okay.
To bring a little something different, you know, to the community.
Right.
But it wasn't no easy journey.
Gotcha. So you was working at a funeral home and you just jumped in, was hired as a staff, and you just fell in love with the industry, or? Well,
basically, I started out with a local funeral home here, and now worked my way from a different funeral home, and was able to work with them probably about 15, 20 years or plus.
Wow.
And I got off into it by just thinking on, you know, death.
Gotcha.
What would take place.
Gotcha.
And as a little boy coming up, I was scared to go to a funeral.
Right.
You couldn't pay me to go to a funeral. Now, if you was an auntie or uncle, I went.
Right.
And that's because Mama kind of pushed me to go.
Most definitely.
As far as cousin, no.
Right.
The problem that I had was I kept dreaming after after these funerals.
Right.
Couldn't sleep in my own bed. I had to go jump in the bed with Mother.
Wow.
And so that was my comfort zone.
Gotcha.
So I was able to get over that by just seeking into it, and then eventually I ended up, my sister used to work for one of the local funeral homes.
Okay.
And gave me that opportunity. I had a few cousins that were supposed to have been trying to go in there with me, and that didn't happen.
Right.
So, but however, you know, we all doing great and fantastic.
Right.
But I'm the only one that stuck with whatever we was trying to do.
Right. Now, from my understanding, I know Brian already, so I got a little heads up on y'all. I thought that you was like the limousine person. Like you was from your last place that you worked, you had like a limousine company or car company, livery or whatever you want to call it, and you was providing cars for the local funeral home. And I would guess as you was doing that, you came around it and Give me a little history on that with the cars and stuff.
Well, basically, I was working for that second local funeral home, and I was always the one that was always driving the limousines for prom.
Okay.
When people would come by the funeral home and want to rent one of the cars, or if the owner would, give them a car, whatever.
Right.
I always was the one to drive.
The driver, right.
So I even drove for my own prom night.
Come on now, Brian.
I drove my friends for the prom night. You know what my motor was?
What?
They said, well, why you driving? We can't believe you driving. I said, the reason why I'm driving. I said, because you spending money.
Right.
I'm making money.
Come on. That's what I'm talking about.
So,
that's what I'm talking about.
so I'm all right.
Yeah.
I said, and guess what? On top of that, while y'all spending, I'm still
at prom.
At the prom.
Now look, you can't beat that. That's a good one now.
Yeah.
I appreciate that one, Brian. That was really good. That was
so
really good.
As coming along in the industry and was trying to find ways of wanting to be an entrepreneur, that was one of the first steps.
Gotcha.
Never stay unfocused off on dealing with the funeral industry itself.
But your main thing was like owning your own business. Correct. So Brian has just been an entrepreneur. The limousine, the love for the funeral industry, it was just inevitable that he will open up a funeral home and become, the owner. So the prom story, that was really good, y'all. I don't think nobody gonna be able to top that one. So my next question for Mr. Brian Wright is, think long and hard. How long have you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry over 30 plus years.
Okay, all right. Brian, are you married?
Yes, I am.
How long have you been married?
Been married 10 years.
Come on now, go ahead to this beautiful Velma.
Mrs. Velma Wright.
Okay.
And we've been married, and we've been hanging in there.
Come on.
And we, by the grace of God, we plan to keep hanging.
That's right. And I'm sure that plays a part in your entrepreneur spirit. You got to kind of have somebody that's on your side, on your team, to kind of help you flow and do your business ventures.
So your great thing is about that part of the marriage is that her birthday and my birthday is on the same day. And we got married on the same day.
Wow.
So the reason that we got married on the same day so I can keep up. I'm gonna keep up with my birthday.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but that wedding date,
that's the same.
I may forget that.
That was good too.
Yeah. So that was the way.
Thinking, y'all. Brian be thinking.
Yeah, that was a way of my wife trying to schedule it on that day so that I wouldn't forget.
That's good. That's good. And the kids?
Kids, I have. I told it out at 7.
Gotcha.
The reason why I told it out at 7 is because I have 4 of my own. My wife has 3.
Right.
All those 3 is mine as well.
That's right.
I have 4 grandchildren, and then my daughter has 2.
Gotcha.
So that's a total of 6 grandchildren.
Okay, go ahead.
So we that's why I try to keep everything shaved and clean,
right.
so I can keep looking young.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it's always been in a big experience.
Gotcha.
To be able to try to keep things carried on.
Right. That's good. Now, another important thing that I want you guys to know, and that I admire about the Wright family. The Wright family is a big family, and I really just know the Wright brothers. Brian and his brothers, they're all in this thing together pretty much. Brian is the face of the show, and he has his brother's support. Am I right? Is it brothers and sisters or just brothers? Brothers. So this the Wright brothers show. So they're not here right now, but we will acknowledge the Wright brothers. Right?
That's right.
And he is the baby. Brian is the baby of the Wright brothers clique. Okay, so just know that. So Brian, what mark do you wish to leave or not leave, but make? What mark do you wish to make in the funeral industry? I mean, you can say you want to perfect traditional funerals, or you want to just show people some pomp and circumstance, or what mark? What's your thing? Your niche?
Well, my thing is that the mark that I want to leave back here is for the younger generation. And for us older generations to be able to, and I'm not calling myself old, but my generation and older, for us to be able to come together, and for us to be able to network together, work together, and so that the community can see, the great works that we're doing here in this industry.
Gotcha.
And that's by working together. And so, we want to be able to, lead more, because there's a lot of people that are interested in the funeral industry. Some are and some not.
So what kind of person you think you gotta be to be in this industry? What characteristics you feel people have to possess to be in this industry?
Got to have the heart.
Come on.
Got to have the mind. And you got to have the guts.
Right.
To be able to pursue through this industry. And training. Training first is the key of when you're going into this industry.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this. I want you to give the views. You gotta think this one now, because there's so many myths out there. So I want you to think of some good ones. I know I've heard so many myths about the funeral industry that I want Brian to help us clear up. I'm gonna say one, and then I want him to kind of to follow me. But the one myth that I'm always going to say is life insurance. It's not kind of a myth, but it's a thing about, we just do not buy life insurance. For whatever reason, we're going to go more in depth about the slave insurance that kind of had a damper on our people back in the day. But I do believe because of the slave insurance that were put on the black people back in the day, is a reason why a lot of black people don't have life insurance, which causes a lot of problems on the family, financial issues when people pass away. We all gonna pass away. So that is one myth that I wanted to, not kind of a myth, but a little thing that I always want to make sure my people know of. So we all know about people saying that the bodies get up and move and all of that. That's not true, is it?
No.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure I got an amen. Yeah, that's not true. It's not possible. So, Brian, what are some myths that you think you can come up with and tell the people that you just want to clear up?
Well, first of all, I'm going to speak on the insurance side that you're talking about. Listen, viewers, people that are out there, listen, your policy is transferable. You can take your policy anywhere you want, whatever funeral home that you desire. And you just have to ask questions.
Right.
And come in and try to, if you choose to do so, to try to set things up to where that we as the professionals to be able to assist you with your insurance need. And we just want to be able to be a help.
Right.
It's not all about making the money, because some funeral homes don't make money off of services, because they're trying to help.
Right.
We try to do the same thing.
Right.
And so we want to be able to reach out to the community so that, we can be able to get things done in a proper manner. Now, the other thing is that think about your decision that needs to be made when death do occur. When death do occur, then we know that you're not in your right mind. But we ask that you please get into the mind of knowing that it did happen.
Right.
And so now I have to make the right choice, make the right decision.
Right.
A lot of times we don't make the right decision, and then we have to end up,
spending more money because you made bad decisions.
Right.
And another main goal here that Brian and his family and his funeral home, they believe in pre-planning. That is the ultimate way to go, you guys. Is to pre-plan, live your life, forget about it. When things happen, your family know where to take your remains. They know what you want. They know what you require. They know where you want to be buried. So they are the pre-planning people. And by the way, if you're in the Hammond, Louisiana area, please come and pre-plan your funeral with Wright and Calvary Funeral Home. At this moment, we're going to take a break to hear from our sponsors. Thank you.
Letter to the 8-year-old me. The reason why I wrote this book was a friend of mine one day, we were on a vacation together and she was asking me questions, and at the end of this conversation there were a lot of tears, and she said, "You need to write that little girl a letter." And the letter turned into a book. I started writing and she just told me, "Don't stop." And it ended up being an 8-chapter book, and it's on Amazon. It's on Barnes & Nobles. It's even on Target.com. It is a story of truth. It is a story of faith. It's a story of healing. And the greatest part about this book was I wrote this book for me, but I got letters from women who read my book who said I changed their lives because they started to look at their lives differently and started to heal themselves from just what they read and learning my process. I am not an expert in any way, form, or fashion. It was just how I thought my healing should go, and it ended up helping someone else. So it was really important that I wrote this book, and I don't even know why it was important at the time, but it healed my soul. And somehow it ended up working and healing some other people. So sometimes when you have that thought of something greater than yourself, go with it, because you never know what that looks like in the end. So yeah, the book is called Letter to the 8-Year-Old Me. Please check it out. I think you'll like it.
So, Mr. Wright, Mr. Bryant Wright, tell me, what are your future plans? The Wright and Calvary or the Bryant Wright thing, anything you put your hands in, what are you planning to do in the future?
Well, future plan, I would like to expand, so that we can continue to service the community. Right. Because at the end of the day, we want to be a servant.
Correct.
To our community and those people that has gave us an opportunity. Right. And we want to be able to give it back. Right. So if we do what we can to try to, do, the expanding of everything, we can reach out to not only our local, but we can reach out to our people that are out of our area. Right. If need be.
Right. Okay. That's a good answer. All right. So my final question for you, Mr. Wright, it's really not a question, it's a statement, you guys. I want Mr. Wright to give the viewers some advice on just life in general, or what would be your advice to the people? You can speak to the younger generation, your age bracket, to older people. Just give them some good Bryant-ism for me.
Well, first of all, please pre-plan. Pre-plan either for yourself or for your loved ones. Don't wait until the time comes and then you have to rush to someone's funeral home to try to be able to, get something done. Right. Sometimes you can make it in time and sometimes you're too late. Right. So my advice to the younger generation or towards the older generation, when grandma, grandpa doesn't say don't tell you all of the things that you need to hear. You need to ask them the question. Right. How is your insurance? Right. What your policy amount is. Right. Or what you're paying on the premium. Then what y'all need to start doing at that point is start checking. And so that we can so that you could try to help your grandparents. Now some of them are tricky and tell you that well, I got everything covered. I got everything straightened out. And then when you get to the funeral home and get to the table,
it's $2,500.
Yeah, you don't have much money to be able to bury your loved one.
Right.
You can't get mad at the funeral home because they only going by what you give them.
Exactly.
So the best thing to do is try to go ahead pre-plan. You never get too old or young to pre-plan.
That's right. The sooner you pre-plan, the cheaper it is and premiums. Like just say if you came to Wright and Carry Funeral Home and you pick your funeral out. So whatever the price is for a funeral today, that would be the price that you would pay when you pass away. You know, long as it's locked in and you pay for it completely. When you pass away, everything that they can sell you that they have available to them is going to be the same price. So pre-planning is the way to go. Y'all, we're going to always say pre-planning because, you know, enough black people are not doing it. And we need to be doing it. So what you want to...
If you can pre-plan, you can stay away from the GoFundMe.
Exactly.
That'll keep you away from the GoFundMe.
Come on now.
And so that way, you know, sometimes, you know, it's a sad situation. You know, people that have lived here 50, 60, 70 years of age, and now you have to do a GoFundMe on that person that's that age.
Right.
Come on, young people.
Right.
Come on, people that are below the age of your loved one.
Right.
We have to get on one accord so that we can go ahead and get things set up. Listen, it does not cost you a dime. It does not cost you a dime to pre-plan. I don't care what funeral home you go to. It does not cost you anything.
Right.
Okay? You just got to pay on it. Now, if you come to my funeral home, we have a great solution for you. If if you want to pre-plan at Wright and Calvary Funeral Home, we have a great solution for you that will help you and that won't put a burden on you, the elderly, or whoever that may come.
Right.
It won't put a burden on you.
Right, so y'all heard that. If you're in the Hammond, Louisiana area, please come and talk to Wright and Carry Funeral Home, ask to see Mr. Bryant, and you get a chance to meet him. You know, just meet your local funeral director and find out what he's talking about his pre-planning options that he have for the community. Now, sometimes GoFundMe is okay, you know, for the unexpected babies. I mean, it may be okay a little bit, but you know, sometimes it's embarrassing for the older people to do it or whatever, but you know, it's nothing like, you know, you'll be able to grieve better if you know you have this in the bag. You know, if you can handle this and you can grieve properly, it's just better. People act better when their business are taken care of. Less problems, less stress on you guys. You know,
we deal with families that comes in that has already pre-played for their loved one, and they'll pick up the phone, they'll call, and they say, "What we do now?"
Right.
And we tell them, you know, it's nothing else for you to do now.
Right.
You can come so that we can go over the final numbers and making sure that we don't have no changes or nothing like that. But other than that, your mother have already got everything set up.
So y'all heard that? When Grandma pre-planned her service, the children will call the funeral home and ask Brian, "What do we do now?" And there is nothing to do but go over the final numbers, pretty much show them what grandmother chose, picked out, pick a date, you know what I'm saying, any add-ons.
Set the services.
Set the services, and it's a wrap. So, you know, you can't beat that. You can get that right here in Hammond, Louisiana at Wright and Carry Funeral Home. So, Brian, while I got you on the line and right here in front of me, so, you know, I have been on this quest on to... a lot of people really don't know what to do when a death occurs. So, you know, we call it an at-need and a pre-need. The pre-need is what we were talking about, the planning. But most of the funerals that we were talking about are at-need. That's when somebody unexpectedly passes away without any prior arrangements, thank you, with the funeral home. So, just say... somebody's mom just passed away. Tell the people what's the first thing the child needs to do at the hospital.
Well, the first thing you need to do is to get with your family and make sure that the decision that's being made is the right decision that you all are going to make. Then you let the nursing supervisor or the doctor know or the coroner know the choice of your funeral home. And at that point, you know, some families call the funeral home themselves, or some may and may not, but the hospital will call. Now, you can take it upon yourself, but the hospital will call. We have to take calls from the hospital or the coroner.
Correct.
And not by no individual.
Correct.
Because things can get misled. So it would be best that you make sure you let those people's names that are called out know the name of your choice of your funeral home.
Right.
And then they will give us a call, and then we take down all vital information that needs to be taken.
And that's really called a release. So once you give the doctor, the nursing supervisor, or the coroner the funeral home name that you choose, then you have just released your loved one to Wright and Cabin Funeral Home. That's the first step, is the release.
And the other thing I'm going to talk about as well, if you do not have a funeral home in mind of your choice.
Come on now.
If the hospital has a morgue. No, we don't like our loved ones to be there, but let the remains stay in the morgue until your decision is made. Okay? If you're at a nursing home or a house call, listen, the coroner comes out. Ask the coroner to pick the body up. Let the coroner hold the body until your decision is made. Just because they may put pressure on you, you know, to get the body released. No one put pressure on you when you lose a loved one.
Because you can make a costly mistake by allowing a costly mistake that you can make by allowing one funeral home to pick up your loved one, and then a day later y'all choose another funeral home. So now you have incurred Bryant's pickup charge and probably embalming charge. So, and then you go to another funeral home and pay their pickup charge and whatever else they're charging, you know, your funeral service. So like he said, if there is no more, ask the coroner to take your loved one to the coroner's office so you can make a decision. All right, so the release is one. All right, so we picked them up. After we picked up their loved one, then what?
After we have picked up your loved one, we'll call the next of kin to get right the rights to
and
authorizations to embalm and pick up. And once we do that and make contact with that person, then we schedule for arrangement. Now, whatever is convenient for you, you know, for you to get with your loved ones to come in and just make sure that you have identification, knowing their social security number. These are the most important things that you may need. And I know that's just, you know, that's just the way we do it here at our facility. And then once that is set and done, bring your insurance information so that we can have that, and then everything else is scheduled, you know, once the arrangements are being made.
Okay, that's very good. So release, don't make no bad decisions. Call the funeral home to schedule your time for arrangements. Then once you get here, Bryant and most funeral homes, they want you to have all of the vital information so we can complete a death certificate for your loved one. And during the arrangement, you'll be picking out or selecting, you know, casket, vaults, you know, whatever you want to see your loved one in that you feel satisfied with. Clothes. Brian, please tell the people about the clothes.
I have a scheduling date that you're supposed to have the clothes here. Okay. So now the clothing. Prefer, you know, everybody have their own preferences. Each funeral home will request certain things as far as the clothing goes. But listen, your clothing is the outfit that you all select to choose to put on your loved one. Okay? And most times funeral homes will request you to maybe have a high neck outfit and all of their undergarments.
Correct.
Please make sure that you bring their undergarments and socks if it's a half couch casket that you are putting your loved one in, or if it's a full couch casket, then you know, of course, you will have to have the shoes.
Right.
But most definitely make sure that you have these things. You have some families will bring them on the day of arrangement. You know, but we try not to put no pressure on them, but we do have a deadline.
Right, because we have to dress and casket.
It takes time for dressing and casketing, you know, to prepare for your loved one to be decent for you when you get ready to come and view them for the previewing.
Right. Now, I emphasize clothing because clothing is so important. It's, even though the family is picking out the clothing, it's really a reflection of the funeral home. You know, when you bring the clothing in early enough, it gives the funeral home a chance to make sure the clothes are pressed, there's no stains, because people going to be staring at your loved one. You know, so those clothes are really, really important. You know, Brian may have to send them to the cleaners, or, you know, so he want them in time enough. So that's really important, y'all. Clothes are important. So I just make sure I had to put that out there for you, Brian, because Brian don't play about them clothes, baby. Let me tell you, he do not play about them. So let's get it together. Exactly. So Brian, I thank you so much for today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, you said you wanted to ask me a question.
I'm not going to ask no question, but I'll just say from the heart, Trey and I, we've been friends quite some time.
Right.
But never knew each other.
Right.
And she heard some things about me, and I heard some things about her. So, you know, but all of it was good. But she has been a great help to the community.
Come on.
And to other funeral homes, and also our funeral home as well. And she has a sweetheart.
Appreciate
you know,
you.
and she don't get mad unless you get her mad.
That's right.
You know, and I mean, she understands the industry, and she knows how the industry works. And I just, you know, I respect her. I've worked with her. My wife worked with her. You know, and you know, it's just a great opportunity to have her a part of Wright and Calvin Funeral.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, Brian. I really do.
She the bomb now, y'all.
Come on now, I appreciate that. So since he said all that about me, I got to say that we're closing out the show and thank everybody. But I want to tell y'all, whenever y'all see Brian Wright at a funeral, when y'all see him all dressed up and looking good and tip-top shape and all that, I want y'all to know he's worked hard all week long for this one day to be looking good. You know what I'm saying? So it's not all about looking good, but Brian gonna step when it's time to step. And if you know black funerals, that is what we love to do, is to dress. I love him and his family for that. Ties match, shoes shine, car shine, everything straight, everything that I love. Brian got it down packed. Him and his team is on point with that. So thank you guys for tuning into our show. If you have any questions, concerns, please write us. Like our channel, subscribe, share it, send us comments, and we'll do a show about it, or we'll try to answer all of your questions. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Brian, again.
Thank you.
Everybody, plan your funeral and live your life. Thank you.
My name is LaTanya Perosier. I am a Navy recruiter. My current position is I am the Outreach and Diversity Manager for Navy Recruiting. What that means is I travel all over the United States finding minorities to give $200,000 scholarships to. These scholarships are really important for our community, and unfortunately, a lot of times we don't know about them. These scholarships are the most amazing thing that the Navy could have ever offered. We even pay for medical school. So if you know somebody who's looking to go to college and wants to serve, We have a $200,000 scholarship for them with a stipend of $750 for their books, and they get a monthly stipend as they attend college. And we have HBCUs. We have 19 HBCUs under this program with 150 other colleges under the NROTC scholarship. If they don't have the SAT scores that we're looking for our national scholarships, we have a preparatory program. So if you have a daughter, cousin, niece, uncle, whoever that may be interested in a scholarship, please have them call us and come see us. We have so many that go unclaimed every year because our community does not know about these programs. So I hope that this information gets to you and you know somebody that's interested. If you're interested in these scholarships, you can go to netc.navy.mil. That's netc.navy.mil, and you can apply for these scholarships.